Hi everybody. We're going to talk about tokenisation today, and I'm going to try to demystify tokenisation a little bit. What I want to do is just take you back and give you an analogy first. About 25 years ago, two young tech entrepreneurs had been fighting to get a meeting with Blockbuster. Blockbuster, for those of you as old as me, you may remember, was the largest DVD and video retailer in the States with over 9,000 shops. Netflix thought that Blockbuster should buy them for $50 million, and they thought it would transform Blockbuster's business model. Blockbuster threw them out of the meeting and said, look, there is nothing that you have that we can't do ourselves. And of course, the rest is history. What do Netflix and Blockbuster do differently? Well, actually, not a lot. It's the same service. You basically want to watch a movie. But instead of having to go to a retail store and actually rent the video, etc., what Netflix have obviously delivered is instant convenience, choice, and cost, and that was basically what broke Blockbuster. And it was the 9,000 basically stores, which was the oil tanker effect that stopped Blockbuster being able to move particularly quickly. If you can keep that analogy in mind, try to think about traditional finance. Tokenisation is, in our view, going to do to traditional finance what Netflix technology did to Blockbuster. It doesn't actually change an enormous amount in terms of the end service and product. It's still going to buy a security and it's going to settle, but instead of it settling in 2 days, it's going to settle instantly, and you're going to be able to see it on a wallet in your phone. But it's going to open up a complete myriad of opportunities, and it's going to be instant, and it's going to offer convenience, it's going to offer choice, and it's going to drive down the cost cycle. The thing about tokenisation is, and again, I'm just trying to demystify it a little bit, as long as something can be stored, as long as it can be valued, as long as there's legal provenance, the technology is now there to tokenise it, and that supports that instant settlement and the ability to store and transmit assets instantly using blockchain technology. Let's take a quick look at the company that we're in, and then I'll talk a little bit about Valereum. We really saw this year the beginning of the cycle with the final breakthrough by the SEC approving Bitcoin ETFs in the States. And you gradually started to see a pickup. And what's been happening is these big global institutions are now looking at DLT as a form of technology to be able to drive efficiency into their own organizations. It's not just about Bitcoin ETFs. It's about using that infrastructure to replace their existing infrastructure. Let me give you some scope on the numbers that we're talking about here. Public markets is a $100 trillion market. It's absolutely enormous. And real world assets, many of which are beyond the regulatory perimeter, so think about anything from real estate to commodities, etc. Boston Consulting Group are predicting, rightly or wrongly, by 2030, 10% of global GDP could be tokenized. That's a $68 trillion opportunity in non-public assets. These numbers are absolutely astronomical. And what we've seen at Valereum since we started on this journey from 5 years ago is this has now broken through in 24 into a huge now acceleration. And obviously with the US election, that's going to continue by the look of it to grow exponentially. Just as a side note, Valereum actually owns a minority stake in a Bitcoin mining company called Binance. We own about 16-17%, which is about 3.5 million sterling's worth. And clearly that may look to increase in value as the market powers ahead. So what do Valereum do? We do two core things. We build and license tokenized technology. That's the core strategy for Valereum technology, and we've been designing and developing that since 2019. The model for that is what we call a full stack turnkey technology solution. So it does everything from making tokens to trading tokens to settling tokens. But it's also being driven into what we want our real strategy is in terms of transforming the public markets sector. You heard Alistair talk this morning about some of Aquis' core values. They ring really loudly with us in trying to drive the way the incumbents currently drive those markets. We want to provide tokenization technology to exchanges, to fund managers, to brokers, to banks, etc. We work with take the Red Bull analogy again. We work with the best technology vendors. We've brought them into our team. So we have an exchange technology provider. We work with Fireblocks on the wallet side. We have onboarders for the client side, we work with blockchain protocol, we work with tokenizers, and we're bringing those together in able to deliver that turnkey solution. It is highly scalable, and it's a white label licensing solution. We also operate markets. We don't just want to showcase our technology in our market, but we also want to build markets ourselves. So we have just received, we applied for and received a license to open our first regulated market in real world assets, and then we'll be turning on the public markets next year. And those markets are already looking incredibly exciting in terms of transformational change. We're also the only PLC with its own utility token, and that will provide a number of utility aspects when you come into the Valereum ecosystem. So let's talk about that ecosystem. As I said, we've been designing and developing the tech. We started right back in 2019 to really try to focus in on, if we're going to deliver a T-instant settlement solution at the point of trade, what does that look like? And then we began the development, and we turn on our first demo version later this month after 5 years of design and dev. We also go live with the Valereum wallet. We're in soft test at the moment. We'll be turning that on during December. And we also turn on our real world asset marketplace. We received a license in El Salvador, and they are moving at such a pace. And I think they just made another $100 million last week in their Bitcoin holding. That country is literally exploding, and we're very, very honoured and privileged to open our first marketplace there. That then tees us up for 25 and 26 and beyond, where we'll be licensing our tech and scaling. We spent 25 completing the main core development of our technology, which, without getting too technical, is the on-chain settlement cycle. And then we bolt that into the matching engine, then we start to license. A year ago, we were at just under 4 million sterling market cap. Today, we're hovering just about 20 million, and we've got 171 million shares in issue. And I'll just leave you with 57 seconds to go. It's hard to believe, but I actually started, this is my 41st year in finance when I started as a trader in London. And that was, just for those of you who might be younger than me, that was before the internet was invented, before mobile phones, and before PCs. That technology has obviously transformed in the way we live today. What has happened over those 40 years in the settlement cycle of traditional finance? Absolutely bugger all. It still takes 2 days to settle a share, and that technology hasn't caught up. So we've very much taken the technology that has now emerged, and we believe that whereas Blockbuster worked, Netflix showed that it could work more efficiently, we believe tokenization can be deployed to make financial markets just work so much more efficiently. And that's why we are a tokenization company front and center in technology solutions as well as operating to marketplace. 3 seconds to go.
Absolutely brilliant. What did you trade 40 years ago? What was it?
I traded derivatives, equities and derivatives in Tokyo and London.
Thanks so much. Nick Cowan, Chief Executive of Valereum.